7 p.m., and I'm calling to order this additional meeting of the committee. For the record, I'd like to note that we have a quorum consisting of Chairman Phil Mendelson, Councilmember Wendell Felder, and myself. And my colleague Robert White had wanted to let everybody know that he wanted to be here, but he shares his appreciation for the committee's work on the report we'll be voting on and his support for it. And I expect we'll be joined by Councilmember Lewis George shortly. Today, the committee will consider and vote on two measures: the roundtable report on potential human rights violations due to federal government intrusion, and PR 26-229, the Committee on Fashion Arts and Events, Tiara Brewer Confirmation Resolution of 2025. We'll start with the roundtable report. On October 29, 2025, the Committee on Public Works and Operations held a public roundtable to hear from residents and DC organizations about incidents witnessed since January 2025 involving DC government coordination with federal law enforcement, specifically incidents related to the committee's jurisdiction over the DC Office of Human Rights and human rights laws. The roundtable was the first official forum for district residents to speak about what they've experienced and witnessed and to voice their fears and anger. An overwhelming majority of the testimony was about actions by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement and other federal agencies participating in immigration enforcement activities over which district government has no legal authority, and the actions of Metropolitan Police Department, which is legally bound by the D.C. Human Rights Act, the Sanctuary Values Act, and other district laws. The committee also heard testimony about district agencies' involvement in the displacement of unhoused people. More than 50 people testified before the committee, including many who appeared in person and many more who submitted written testimony. The testimonies painted a picture of federal law enforcement agents acting with impunity, arresting individuals perceived to be immigrants or Latino, terrorizing communities, and violating both federal law and local law. The committee also heard numerous accounts of masked and unidentifiable armed agents with no visible badges, questioning, arresting, and disappearing residents into unmarked cars. We heard a range of testimony from the public about what they've seen and experienced firsthand, all centered on how MPD and other DC government agencies have been involved with federal law enforcement in ways that may have circumvented the district's current protocol and policies. The committee acknowledges that what a resident sees during an incident is often not the complete picture, and that MPD has long had cooperative agreements with numerous federal law enforcement agencies under congressional statutes. This report does not question the lawful execution of those longstanding agreements. To the extent possible, the committee has reviewed testimony, record statements, research, and conducted interviews, and this report is a summation and analysis of that information. The most significant finding based on the testimony and other information in this report is that many residents have lost trust in MPD. This report recommends actions that can and should be taken by the executive and recommends continued oversight by the council, including the mayor should rescind Mayor's Order 2025-090, the Safe and Beautiful Emergency Operations Center order, which authorized indefinite local coordination with federal immigration authorities. The emergency declaration has ended, and there's no justification to continue cooperation for immigration enforcement. The interim chief of police at MPD should immediately sunset the order on immigration enforcement, which authorized MPD officers to share information about people not in their custody, such as those they interact with during traffic stops, and to provide transportation for federal immigration officers and people they have detained. The council should reaffirm the Sanctuary Values Act and strengthen its protections by closing any gaps that have expanded the executive's power to cooperate with the federal immigration enforcement. This includes holding a hearing on B26-549, the Safe Community Places and Policing Amendment Act of 2025, and acting swiftly to move it through the council. The council should exhaust all means to require that federal law enforcement officers are subject to the same restrictions imposed on MPD officers not to wear masks or face coverings, and to provide identification. The committee recommends the Office of Human Rights continue to collect data and will work with the agency to continue oversight on human rights issues. With that, is there any discussion on the report?
Madam Chair,
Mr. Chairman?
I want to thank you and the committee for having the hearing in October. I recall at the time it was the first opportunity for many residents to be able to speak at a public venue, at a council venue, with regard to their concerns. What we have experienced in the district, I would venture to say, has been magnified by recent events in Minnesota. We've seen it in other jurisdictions, but Minnesota is perhaps a little bit worse, given that there was actually a fatality. I find it dismaying that there were 2 incidents in the district in the fall where there were gunshots fired. And as far as I'm concerned, it was lucky that, maybe I should say it was luck, that the individuals who were the drivers in those automobiles were not harmed. And I find it um, mind-boggling that the U.S. Attorney determined that there was no criminal basis for charges. It seems to me that if it was an ordinary citizen who fired into somebody's car, that they probably would be charged with assault with intent to kill. Maybe there's a lesser violent criminal charge. In any event, uh, what I'm speaking to is the terror of ICE and related Homeland Security agencies, enforcement agencies that are just terrorizing our citizens and citizens in other states. Maybe I shouldn't say citizens, I should say individuals, including racial profiling, which last I checked was unconstitutional, but somehow is okay for this agency. Closer to home, it is counterproductive to effective law enforcement. And I think your report goes into all this. It is counterproductive to local law enforcement. It actually makes it more difficult for MPD to do its job fighting crime when trust by the community is broken, which it has been repeatedly by these federal agents. So I think it's excellent that you have this committee report. I just wanted to put that on the record. Um, and you know, it may not be satisfying for those folks who are terrorized because all we're doing is issuing a report, but we don't have jurisdiction over federal agencies, and we don't have jurisdiction over felony criminal prosecutions. Um, so I think it's good that we're speaking out in this report is that. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that, Chairman. Yes, Councilmember Felder.
Well, Madam Chairperson, first and foremost, I appreciate your leadership on this matter. Thank you for convening the hearing. I echo majority of the sentiments that were already shared by Chairman Mendelson, so I will not be redundant. And I will just wrap my discussion up with 3 words: go home, ICE.
Excellent. Thank you both very much. I know we have also been joined by Councilmember Louis George from Ward 4. I don't know if you're in a place to make remarks or if you had any, but I want to give you the chance if that is what you'd like to do.
Thank you. I was planning on being right there. I went out to grab some lunch, and the streets all got shut down because the people are marching for a free DC and for ICE out of our city. So I am just pulling over and waiting until the street opens back up. But I did want the opportunity to speak on the report you've put together, and say I want to thank you and your staff for hosting the October Roundtable, for producing this thorough and important report. And I also want to thank every resident who came forward to testify or submit written testimony. Many shared painful and frightening experiences at real personal risk. Their voices made clear that what is happening in our communities is not abstract policy, but lived reality. And the council has a responsibility to listen. The testimony raised serious concerns about the role of district agencies, particularly MPD, in the context of aggressive federal immigration enforcement. Residents describe warrantless arrests, racial profiling, masked and unidentifiable federal agents, and widespread fear in immigrant and Latino communities, as well as instances where MPD appeared to be present alongside federal agents in ways inconsistent with district law. and sanctuary protections. This report does not question lawful longstanding interagency agreements, but it finds that the district has failed to provide clear answers about the scope of MPD's cooperation with federal agencies, even after the federal emergency expired. Recent court rulings and reporting confirm what residents have been saying for months. Immigration enforcement in the district has relied on unlawful practices that undermine public trust. Our values as a city are clear. Every person, every community in the district deserves to feel safe. The report also calls for a hearing to be held on my bill, the Safe Community Places and Policing Amendment Act of 2025, a bill that would strengthen our sanctuary protections and ensure that MPD does not detain, transport, or assist in immigration enforcement without a valid judicial warrant. Aligning district policies with our values is essential to restoring trust and protecting human rights. For those reasons, I'm proud to support this report and to vote in favor of it today at markup. It reflects the voices of district residents and the urgent need for accountability, transparency, and adherence to the law. Thank you.
Thank you so much. With that, I move to approve the committee report on potential human rights violations due to federal government intrusion with leave for staff to make technical and conforming changes. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. The vote is unanimously in favor. Now to make a hard pivot, the second measure on the agenda, PR 26-229, would reappoint Tiara Brewer as a voting member of the Commission on Fashion, Arts, and Events for a term to end April 15th, 2029. Ms. Brewer has served on the commission since 2023, and her previous term expired on April 15th, 2025. The commission's purpose is to advise the mayor, the council, and the public on the views and needs of the fashion and beauty industry. It consists of 15 members, 8 of whom are nominated by the mayor and subject to the advice and consent of the council. The remaining 7 are non-voting members from various district agencies and organizations. Appointed members must be residents of the District of Columbia and serve 4-year terms. Ms. Brewer has over 10 years of fashion, retail, and corporate experience. She's worked for Fortune 500 corporations, which shaped her expertise in the fashion areas of buying, branding, wardrobe styling, merchandising, and management. In her current role, Ms. Brewer provides oversight and supervision to 3,000 global products and projects. She's also worked with several nonprofits and government agencies to support DC families, such as Yay Me, Safe Passage, and the National Association for the Advancement of Returning Citizens. Ms. Brewer is a DC resident. She received an associate's degree in accounting from Bowie State University and a bachelor's degree in fashion marketing and management from Berkeley College in New York City. The reappointment of Ms. Brewer is in accordance with DC Official Code 3-651A. The committee concludes the nominee meets the qualifications for membership on the commission and therefore recommends her nomination. Is there any discussion on the committee report or print? Hearing none, I move to approve the committee report in print for PR 26-229 with leave for staff to make technical and conforming changes. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. The ayes have it unanimously. Is there any other business before the committee? Hearing none, the time is 2:20 and this additional meeting of the Committee on Public Works and Operations is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you. If someone wants to help me get in the building.